Hey everyone, Andre here, along with Ash, Derek, and John, to discuss the newest inclusion in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, being Min Min, the 81st fighter added to Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is crazy. So, guys, what did we think of the reveal of Min Min as the fighter choice for ARMS?
What a great reveal.
Yeah, there was a lot more put into that trailer than I was expecting, honestly. That was really cool.
Mm-hmm. They kind of redid the Terry scenario where everyone's sort of grabbing for the invitation, but the art style added so much flair.
It did.
And it was great to see the entire cast represented in some way. But Min Min, I was rooting for her the entire time. I remember tweeting like back in October of last year saying hope Min Min gets in, like before an ARMS fighter was even revealed. So I've been rooting for her for a very long time, and I'm so happy that she's the one.
You wanted Min Min to get in?
For the win-win.
For the win-win, nice.
For the win-win.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a bit of a bummer it's not Twintel, but Min Min makes a lot of sense, and she was my number 2 pick. So I'm very happy to see her here, and she looks like a lot of fun to play. Very interesting mechanically.
We missed the most important part, though, guys. It opened with Captain Falcon eating ramen.
Pretty much as soon as they showed Captain Falcon eating ramen, I was like, oh, it's Min Min.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me, Derek, he was eating his Falcon lunch, all right? Not just his ramen, his Falcon lunch.
It was so great. Yeah, that was such a fun reveal, and it sounds like it's going to be the course moving forward, where each DLC character will get a more elaborate presentation than some did in the past, which excites me, because those are so fun, and they made, even though we knew the genre, or the character type that would be in ARMS this time, it was still fun to see like how exactly they were building up to the full reveal of the character.
Right.
And I think Min Min is awesome. Like, great choice, great character. Again, it's a woman this time, starting off the next wave of DLC with a woman character, which is great. Bump up that percentage a little bit. Yeah, she looks super fun. Like, what I really appreciate is how true to ARMS it seems to be. Like, I think, I'm actually surprised how accurate they are to the game, with the fact that you can even launch both ARMS independently of each other, which is crazy.
Right.
I didn't expect that. And I'm glad that they even incorporated, Ash, what you had predicted, with the ability to equip ARMS during a match. And I'm happy myself that I nailed the recovery, where you just punch the ground and launch yourself upward. Quasi-recovery.
I mean,
it's not...
it's more of a dodge move when you're on the ground,
exactly.
but
it doesn't work in the air.
Grab recovery. Otherwise,
Yeah, they're really true to their word when they said that each DLC character is going to have some kind of gimmick that sets them apart from the rest. And Min Min just seems to play completely differently, and control completely differently to any other Smash character. That might be a detriment, though, because Smash is quite an accessible party game for the most part. They can just hand someone the controller, and because the control scheme's the same for every character, they can kind of get it. I'm wondering if Min Min's going to be the case for that, though.
Possibly. I mean, that wouldn't be the first time we've seen that, though, since Ryuken and Terry as well are kind of in that boat, too. So, I would say, I think it's cool that we have another character from another fighting game, just like Ryuken and Terry. Sakurai and his team did such a great job transplanting Street Fighter and Fatal Fury mechanics in Smash. Now they've really gone all in with the ARMS mechanics. Like, I knew they were going to do some ARMS stuff specifically, but I think Andre and I both, we didn't expect them to go as in-depth kind of transplanting ARMS into Smash as they did with Min Min.
Yeah, it's a better capture of the gameplay of the source game than I think even Inkling is. Like, they really captured the core gameplay better than I think they have in some characters' cases.
One thing I wanted to see a bit more of was the integration of ARMS minigames. Like, there's the basketball minigame, there's volleyball, and that kind of stuff didn't seem to... It wasn't really there in the stage or in the character moveset.
In the moveset, how would you have implemented that into the moveset, John?
Like a spike, maybe. Like, you jump off the edge and just slam someone down.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough. My thought is that they could probably get the volleyball motion for their down throw, where she just does a little twist and then slams them down, something like that. So that might be the way to get that kind of animation in. But I like how when they showed off Min Min's moveset, it really did make sense that it was Min Min that was picked because of the use of her feet. And the fact she has a reflector as her, up attack or something like that?
Her up tilt is a reflector,
That's definitely new.
And it's nice that she can cover the entire stage. Like, with her dragon lasers, every single part of the stage can be covered.
It's interesting, though, that her forward smash doesn't seem, at least at first glance, doesn't seem to be the longest range in the game, or maybe even close. Like, it looks like maybe Simon and Richter and Mega Man's is still longer. I thought maybe, given that, it's an ARMS character with springy arms, that maybe she would end up having the longest forward smash. But perhaps not. It's hard to tell side by side, but it doesn't look as though she does.
I think it makes sense.
Nothing on Marth from Melee.
Yeah. Pretty much. I think it makes sense that they didn't make it as long as the Belmonts. The Belmonts are already struggling as it is to be relevant in this, so give them what they can. I don't think it's a big deal, and it still makes Springman stand out as well.
Right, with his when he comes on. Yeah, that's true. And I mean that's I feel bad, but that's like the takeaway I keep coming back to. Like, yeah, it's a bummer it wasn't Twintel. I'm just so thankful it wasn't Springman.
Exactly.
That
really is the most hype part of this trailer. Not that it's Min Min. That's not Springman.
When he got the invitation, it's like clock him, beat him up, hit him.
Yep.
Although we did get Springman's stage here though as the representation.
We did.
Yeah. Which
probably is a better pick than Ramen Bowl, to be honest.
100%.
It's kind of a more neutral,
It's a good gimmick.
For as cool as Min Min is, her stage wouldn't be good for Smash, I feel like. Unless they severely reworked it. Like maybe you were playing outside the actual Ramen Bowl, which wouldn't make a lot of sense, but...
Yeah.
There are a few stages that would have worked really well though. Like there's the skate park stage where you're sort of going around on those like skateboards the entire time. And Ribbon Girl's stage, that would have been really cool too.
Right.
But like when you think iconic arms, it probably is Springman's stage.
I still think DNA Lab could have worked.
Yeah, that'd been a fun one.
Stage. That would have been a good one. But no, I think it's a nice neutral stage. I was saying to Andre on the stream, I don't think it's going, from what I've seen so far, I think King of Fighters Stadium is going to stay my favorite DLC stage, just because I love that wall popping mechanic. But this looks like a fun, basic, nice stage with like some fun hazards, but nothing too overwhelming for people who don't like hazards.
Right.
Yeah. And there's even that random chance of you getting knocked up into the arches above. Like they're not big, they don't cover a lot, but there's still that chance of getting hit up into them and bouncing back down.
Right.
Which is pretty fun. And I like the spring mechanic. I think it works. I think it's a good stage, but you can tell it's not as involved as some of the others in the past because they did not spend a lot of time on that stage at all.
Right, well, but hey, we also were getting 18 music tracks with it, though, which is essentially almost arms its whole soundtrack, which is pretty cool. Although only 2 new rearrangements, and I've seen some disappointment about that on Twitter and such, that we're not getting that much new, music in terms of rearrangements. But, I think 2 rearrangements with basically the whole soundtrack, pretty good deal, especially for $6. I mean, if anything, I'm more impressed by how, not that I was expecting it not to look as good as the other DLC, but just with the development constraints we know Sakurai and his team are under with the pandemic, I was really impressed by the production quality of not only the trailer, but her character model. Like, she just, again, I shouldn't have expected it to look any worse, but I'm just really impressed with what they've been able to do, given the current situation.
Yeah, I mean, even Sakurai filming himself from home.
Yeah, exactly.
It was quite wholesome just seeing his home setup too. Like just looking at everything he has, it's insane. He has 2 displays
jealous of that
right next to each other. All these consoles.
And you heard the reason for that, right? It was so he can watch TV while playing a game. So he basically recreated the entire idea of the Wii U in TV form.
Pretty much. I'm just jealous of how clean his setup is as far as all the consoles hooked up. Unless it's just like he disconnected all the wires and hid them elsewhere at the time. So
I'm so glad he confirmed that he's going to be doing more presentations like this, either from home or for the rest of the Smash characters. But he came out and said, hey, we're going to do well-produced trailers, we're going to have these presentations, because I think, at least for me, this is my favorite style of Smash reveal. You get a cool trailer at the beginning, and then 30-40 minutes of Sakurai explaining the game they come from and really going in depth and being Sakurai. Right. And I really like that style for this.
It was, it's kind of crazy just to see how much diversity and variety that Min Min has. Like, of course you can change her arms, but that changes everything. Like, her aerials go from being these sort of heavy attacks to being quick attacks. Everything is just so diverse. And it looks like you can just change up your playstyle on the fly, which very few other characters can do.
She's able to smash in the air as well.
Yeah, she has air smashes, which is interesting, kind of like Robin, I guess. So she's not technically the first, but still, the fact that she has them is really interesting. And I thought it was really interesting how she does struggle close up. A lot of her smash attacks have a lot of startup on them, so it's easy to knock her out of them, as we saw in the video. So it's interesting to see that she's going to be a character with very specific strengths and weaknesses, I think. Like, the fact that she fights so much better on the ground reminds me of Little Mac, but yet she's so much more dynamic than Little Mac and can do stuff in the air, unlike Little Mac.
Right, yeah. She can jump.
Yeah,
or at least properly.
She can jump. Yeah.
Yeah, the interesting thing about with the whole idea of having extending arms is you're kind of vulnerable when you're using them. Like, if you're not landing those hits, then you're going to be kind of left, not entirely a sitting duck. We saw that you can move while attacking, which is neat, and something that seems to be novel, largely novel to this character. But it does seem like overall this seems to be more of a technical character, with the the fact that you have these kind of delay-based long-range attacks, along with the fact that you can change your basically your loadout or your setup rather mid-match. So yeah, this would be a fun character to learn, I think. Although it might be a little bit daunting to people who, are newer to the game or even aren't that familiar with arms too, perhaps.
Yeah. Yes, I forgot about that. She can move while using her tilts, right? Because I think the only other character, unless, correct me if I'm wrong, John, but I think Mega Man's the only other character I can think of who can do that.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that might be. That's actually kind of crazy. Nice.
Yeah, that's nuts.
She has a lot of unique mechanics that, like, taken together, make her a character that we've never really seen before in Smash, which, as you've been saying, Andre, has been the cornerstone of the DLC so far. With, I guess you could maybe say Banjo-Kazooie is an exception, but even they have the highest priority move in the game, I think.
Right.
So that's their own thing, so...
Yeah, it's wild that we're 81 characters in, and they're still finding ways to make them feel completely different from one another. That is wild to me.
Yeah.
Like, you would think that the more characters you have, the more crossover there is. But we haven't, by and large, we haven't seen that, and that is just remarkable, that we're still getting these completely unique playing characters, and it really makes me excited for the upcoming ones as well.
Yeah. One thing I'm really excited about for the future of Smash as well is Min Min sets two different precedents. Like, for starters, they announced that she's from ARMS to begin with, so the speculation about what the character's going to be was completely different to any other Smash lead-up. But also, she's a spirit. She was a 3-star spirit, wasn't even a 5-star spirit. And that opens up the door for 1,400 other characters to possibly be playable in Smash.
Right. Which,
right.
I know people are hoping for Springman, not just because there are Springman fans out there, but because getting him would have put the possibility of, like, Zero on the table, and Shovel Knight, and all these other assist trophies that I know people want to see come to the game. But I'm still happy that it's Min Min. It would have been cool to have assist trophies been put on the table, but not at the expense of getting Springman as the arms rep.
So what I'm hearing, John, then, is there's now a concrete hope for Stone Race FX characters, as well as Geno, to appear in Super Smash Brothers.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. Exactly.
And Labrador Retriever as well. He's a spirit.
Oh my god.
L-Block. L-Block's back on the table.
Hey, there we go. Good
Nice.
So
yeah.
And actually,
Captain
speaking
Rainbow.
of the spirits, they did something I've actually seen requested quite a bit. Rematches against the spirits, ways to refight them, and I don't know. I think that's a really good idea, just because it gives you a little bit more. Like, there's certain matches that you want to try again because they're just a lot of fun, or it would have been useful back in the day for us for being able to easily show off what those were.
That Pauline fight was, like, back then it was known as one of the hardest spirit fights, and it was so annoying. And of course the pros come in and say, oh, well, just use a staff and no big deal, and there you go,
2 shots and she was dead,
and she was dead, and she was so hard.
Yeah, I recently completed my spirit collection, and there are a huge chunk of that that I haven't even fought. Like, there's ones that you summon, there's ones that you buy, so I have no idea what their matches are like. So I guess this is going to be the first time seeing what they even play like.
Yeah, good point. And it's interesting that they even remix some of them, like the Cuphead fight. They changed it to be actually the Cuphead Mii costume if you own the Mii costume.
Yeah.
Which is neat. That's a nice
really
little
cool.
detail.
Well, speaking of costumes, we got Vault Boy here as one of the new costumes coming to the game in 8.0. Didn't see that coming. I did love the introductory for it, though, where we went to the old school animation and how Vault Boy actually emerged from like a bunker-looking thing in the Metroid stage.
Right.
So clever. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, with the whole old school film grain effect, of course, the first thing I thought was Cuphead. But
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Cuphead's
It's already in the game.
Wait a minute, what's going on?
They were getting me hyped for a character or costume that was already in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and like Bethesda Mii costume speculation is nothing new, but usually it's like Doom Guy or like Dovahkiin or something like that. But I've not really heard anyone really like call out Vault Boy before, even though he's the most mascotty of any of them.
Yeah, and it works because you can have a costume like Cuphead or Sans, where his entire body's covered, so it doesn't even feel like a Mii costume.
And of course, that all led us to and I think we all predicted that we'd be looking at another indie Mii fighter costume, just because that's been the trend. But again, no rules. Sakurai breaks whatever rules we think there are. He breaks them every time, and this time it was a Fallout costume, so that was a cool surprise.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of rules, like spirits are completely on the table now, and I'd go as far to say that assist trophies probably are too. Like, there are no rules.
I mean, there's really no reason to think they aren't on the table. Again, Sakurai proves time and time again there really are no constraints or limits, really.
I like how he did mention as well. Like, I talked to the developers and they said there isn't really a main character because you'd expect it to be Springman. It's like everybody's a main character or the protagonist, and he personally recommended Min Min.
Yeah, I love that. The director of ARMS is a super cool guy. We've had a chance to interview him at E3 a few years ago, and just very fun person. It's nice. It's cool to hear that from him, how he doesn't consider there to be a main character. And I kind of touched that in our discussion too, Ash, our predictions. Where I'm like, it's basically an ensemble cast beyond the box art characters. No one is elevated above another in the game itself, really, and it's fun to see that reflected in that. Well, now, actually, it's funny that was the case, but now it seems like Min Min is kind of the main character of ARMS.
Min is she is definitely going to be front and center next time.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because ARMS doesn't have a story mode. So outside of the marketing, which originally did have Springman as the focus, ARMS just elevated into something else completely. And Min Min won many of the competitions, many of the popularity contests. I think the community have kind of decided who the main character is rather than marketing.
It sounds like Ninjara was also high on their consideration list based on what was said in the video, which is an interesting little tidbit. But I do think Min Min ended up being the right choice. Like, again, I do wish it was Twintel, but she I think, is the overall fan favorite, as you said, but John, decided by the community kind of by virtue of the ARMS Party Crash Bash, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Twintel wouldn't be the best representative of ARMS.
Considering she doesn't use her arms.
She'd be great, but she doesn't... They're not arms.
She doesn't use the arms.
That is the downside. Maybe we could, maybe for Ultimate 2, whatever it ends up being.
Ultimate 2, right. Were you guys also surprised by just how much time they devoted to spirits in this presentation? I
totally tuned out during that segment. I could not care less about spirits.
Yeah. I mean, I think I probably would have cared more if I didn't already have all the spirits, but I mean, since my collection's complete, I was kind of just zoning out.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, spirits are never that exciting. Did they show off the ARMS spirits? Because I'm a little bit curious about this. Because ARMS has 4 spirits.
Right, and we know that the spirit board, they're the whole DLC spirits for each DLC pack. So I imagine there's going to be an exclusive set of new ARMS spirits for the DLC, but they didn't show those off, so that's interesting.
Yeah, they didn't show any hint of classic mode either.
No,
that's true. Right.
So we actually have some value now in our own run through.
And we only saw one of Min Min's victory animations. So there's definitely stuff we haven't seen.
Right.
We did see Kirby though.
I don't know if we did see Kirby. Yeah.
I like give him an actual hat and a wig.
Yeah.
No, I just love how well Min Min just seems to fit in here, despite also being just really different. I mean, I think that's partially why she fits in well. She is so very different. And both, I mean, even in appearance, she's a human, but a very distinct one, and I love that. I love getting these different looking characters in Smash Brothers who really stand out. And even take the Fire Emblem characters, they all kind of blend together for me especially. But in Min Min's case, again, being a human, you're not going to have that problem.
Right. Yeah, there's so many different art styles and character designs and just overall diversity of character designs represented in the Smash roster now. It's a lot of fun to see all these different characters from different kinds of video games kind of existing on the screen together, even though they look so different.
Mm-hmm. I adored the first Fighters Pass. I think every character in there was so unique, and some of my favorite characters in the game. But if I were to floor it for anything, I'd say outside of Banjo, you are just looking at a bunch of humans. And they're all very, they're a very particular kind of human. Like, you've got JRPG Hero, you've got JRPG Joker, JRPG Byleth, then Terry. But Terry's different, but for the most part, it was a very specific kind of character design. Whereas I hope that we get a few more oddballs with this one.
For some reason, now I'm picturing Banjo in human form, and his name would be Manjo Kazooie.
Oh, God.
Just quit while you're not ahead. Quit while you're ahead. There's no good can come from that.
I want to Google that.
Yeah.
Someone's drawing Manjo right now.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Someone's going to draw it and tweet at all of us because of that.
Oh, man. I'm actually curious now.
No, thank you.
Oh, Manjo, I should say.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We did get another surprise during this, though. The return of Amiibo.
Yeah,
right.
I love the surprise appearance of it from behind Sakurai's tabletop plant. And there was another one behind there too, being Hero.
Right.
But again, no Manjo. Where's Manjo at?
Hero was announced before Banjo, so...
Yeah.
I am curious too with Hero. Hero has like 4 different costumes, and Erdrick in particular is going to be hugely popular in Japan. So are they just doing a Luminary? Because I'd buy multiple of them. I'd buy.
I'd buy all 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because I feel like I can see why they wouldn't want to make all 4 just for production costs and such. But I feel like at least Erdrick would. I mean, that would
at least for the Japanese market.
Yeah, so maybe it does just seem to be the Luminary though. I feel like they would have told us if they were going to do any results.
They might still be in production because isn't Joker not coming until like the fall? So it's we can't expect Hero until next year. So
they said Hero's going to be fall as well.
Oh really?
There was a weird comment as well though. Like they're saying like, the entire Amiibo lineup for the base game is done. And then Sakurai said something about Zelda and Ganondorf have different designs. And it's like, well, moving on. Here are the DLC characters. Like, hang on, was he using something?
I guess it's just him using
like,
himself.
oh well, we can't fix this.
Yeah, that was really weird that he kind of hung on those words for a little bit, because I really thought he was going to announce they were going to have like an alt design series for characters who got different designs in Ultimate. So
I'd buy the Zelda one in a heartbeat.
Oh, same. Yeah, I wish they were going to do that, but of all the DLC characters, of course, Banjo-Kazooie are the one amiibo that I really want, and of course, they didn't show that yet. We'll have to see that next time, but I am looking forward to seeing how that turns out. But I will say, the Joker one looks really nice with the blue flame behind him,
It does.
like acting as the support. It's a really cool figure.
Here's a pitch for you, Ash. A Mega Man bundle, which has every single character from the Final Smash in there, including that Proto Man at the back.
Name your price, man. Name your price, I'll buy it. Yeah.
What do we think of Min Min's Final Smash, by the way, where you have pretty much the entire cast of ARMS coming in to assist?
It's pretty cool.
I like it.
Yeah.
I was hoping for Headlock, because Headlock could have been a really cool, just sort of like
actually a good
all out there attack.
Right.
Yeah.
It's cool though. Getting everyone in there is a good idea.
I do like that.
Yeah.
I think though, when one of you brought up like the other moves that get brought in from elsewhere in the game, I'm not sure that would be a great fit for the actual like gameplay portion of the character. But the Final Smash could be a lot of fun if you literally like just dribble one of the other characters and dunk them in the hoop.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be really cool.
Right? That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been really underwhelming though if it were just a regular flurry rush, because Springman does that already in his assist trophy. So it's got to be more than that.
Exactly. So no, I think I mostly like what they came up with here. So.
Yeah,
good to have
I
that
think
extra
she's going to add a lot of a really interesting dynamic to the metagame. I think I'm really curious to see what people end up doing with her, because I know John, you and I both watched like videos of pros playing and stuff, and I feel like Min Min is a character that there's a lot of possibility, and the ceiling could be very high with her, and I'm really curious to see what people come up with.
Yeah. Should be a lot of fun. I can't wait to go hands-on with her myself next week.
Arms on.
Yeah.
Yes. My bad.
Yeah, only a week away.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Any final thoughts, everyone, on Min Min before we wrap it up?
I am still curious, how does she pick things up? Because we see when she does her recovery on the edge, the dragon arm kind of like clatches on like that. So I'm wondering if like does the dragon pick things up? Or
I'm guessing so.
Yeah.
That could be.
Yeah, I think I was wondering that myself, but when we saw the dragon clinging to the ledge, I'm like, okay, that's how she's picking up items.
Right. This doesn't pertain to Min Min specifically, but I did pick up on something that Sakurai said toward the end when he was talking about how he promises that he's going to deliver at least 5 more characters. I hate that for him, because I know there wasn't anything to that, but people are going to seize on that and be like, he said at least, the door's open, that means there could be more beyond Fighters Pass 2, which there could be, but that people are going to zero in on that specific usage of that term and be like, man, he said it's possible, so...
Yeah.
Just give us some echoes.
I know, right, exactly.
I mean, for as excited as I would be for more Smash characters, I also would love to see Sakurai do something new.
Sure.
So in that sense, I'm cool with them just stopping at some point and letting him make something else.
Well, I guess he did recently say that he's gone from I want to make other stuff to I understand how important Smash is and my role in it, and I want to keep doing that if that's what people want of me. I just want the man to be healthy and happy, because he deserves it. But I say we clone him. One Sakurai works on new stuff, the other one just keeps making Ultimate characters forever. And
that's solid.
I like this idea.
Yeah.
Min Min looks really fun.
Yep, she does.
That's my final thought.
Same.
She does. She looks legitimately really, really fun to play as.
Yeah, really different, really fun. Yeah, I can't wait. So, and with that, I think we're about done here. So thank you so much for watching, and of course, stay tuned to Game Explain for tons more on Min Min once she's actually released, including gameplay videos, more in-depth thoughts, I'm sure, and who knows what else. Maybe live streams. We'll see. All right, with that, everyone, we'll catch you later. Bye.